Hey, 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 hey! Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a wonderful Saturday Night Vibes or a Sunday lunch coffee.
Yeah, pretty much. Sunday lunchtime over here.
And for those that have been wondering about a new co-host, a newer, this is exciting. Looking forward to what the future holds. If those who don't know, hey, moderators, if you're coming in, do you mind putting the links to Gym Aquatics on Instagram in the chat? Everybody, double check you're following her 100%. She's awesome. She has great input. I'm excited to see her side of the story. And hopefully, go ahead. And hopefully everyone had a wonderful day. I did get some good shots of the sunset this evening. Those that are coming in, you get to see some of that quick. I'm not going to stay on it too long because that is not on the topic, but I did want to share with y'all some behind the scenes quick. And y'all been asking about the cast down pizza. You know, I figured to show y'all some secrets while I wait for more people to show up. Yeah, we do it on the grill and on the smoker, for those who wondered. Oops. Now that one, you ain't see that one. That's something else. Yeah, cast down pizza. It's pretty good. And you know what's interesting, y'all? Backstage, Gym Aquatics was saying, your pizza looks so greasy.
Australia versus America. We don't do a lot of grease over here.
So the way it sounds is either I need to quit start and change my diet, or I actually need to move somewhere else.
Come to Australia.
That'd be nice. It's too far.
Yeah. Bad import laws on our fish as well, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, input. How about input of humans, of a hobbyist? Are there regulations?
Pardon?
Are there regulations for hobbyist imports?
People are about the same as the animals.
Hey, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you get some wild animals over here.
Yeah. Anyhow, the members have already seen this already, but you know what? This is a little twist of Vibes Aquatics. I'm giving y'all a little time to come in. That way we can really hit it hard. I know I'm a little early tonight, y'all, but we got Gym Aquatics here. But yeah, anyways, this is a new twist of Vibes Aquatics, for those who don't know. I've been starting to get into the aquascaping world. It's probably a dumb idea, but
it's only a dumb idea for your bank account.
It sounds like talking from experience.
Yes, very much so. Every single one of my tanks is some sort of aquascape, and I don't even want to think about the amount of money that I put into them. It's ridiculous.
So, I want to hear your opinion about this aquascape. Is this too bland?
Not necessarily too bland, but it could definitely use with some more like definition, like some different size rocks around the larger rocks, just to create some contrast. But apart from that, it looks really good.
But the problem is, this isn't at the fish store. This is the one that I had available to me to use.
Yeah, is that just kind of like a little sandpit area where you can play with the skate? Yeah, we have them at the shop.
No, it took me longer than it should have, but see, normally, I would have glue and that stuff, hold stuff in place.
Yeah, the hard takes the longest. The hardscape always takes a couple of days. A little bit one day, come back and look at it with a fresh mind and see what you need to tinker with.
Right.
Yeah, this one behind me, the hardscape for that took probably 2 or 3 weeks. It took a couple of months planning and then actually doing it. I think I've rescaped it 4 or 5 times already as well. So it's forever changing.
Wow. You know what? Hold on. I'm putting that in my notes, y'all. I can always say, if something comes to your mind, put in your notes because otherwise you're going to forget.
100%. The best thoughts are in the notes.
Yep. If it ain't in the notes, it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Okay. So that might be another topic coming up.
Yeah, aquascaping.
Yeah. Let's put that on my notes. I did gotta do a shout out to Jim Aquatics. She did a phenomenal job, I thought, of setting this up. If you saw my story today, my post, etc. about this was not me. This is all her. She did a great job putting it together.
Thank you.
You got to give the credit what credit is due. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Okay. With 6 minutes in, I'm gonna go ahead and put the topic in, and then we'll hit it, because I don't want to keep Jim here too long, y'all.
I keep the parents out, so we're all good.
And how'd you do that?
I just told him to go for lunch somewhere, and I even managed to get rid of the boyfriend that decided to take him as well. So I've got the house to myself.
Whoa!
Yep, so just me, the dog, and the fish at the moment.
So if the dog is loud, we'll give it a pass.
Yeah, the door is shut at the moment, so he may scream at me soon to let him out.
That's okay. If you haven't seen the topic, for those who don't know, this was scheduled for last Saturday evening, but we had to postpone it till this Saturday or this Sunday, whatever. Bucket List Fish. And for those who don't know, Jim Aquatics is from Australia. So we'll be talking about, now the fish are very similar to America. I mean, they're the same fish, but the keeping habits is different. So, we want to bring the both sides of Australia and America together. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what it holds. But we got Scotty the Fish Freak in. Welcome in, Scotty. Fish Wit. Hey, Asia. Welcome in. Night Owl Aquatics. Hello, y'all. Welcome in, Night Owl. Aqua Garden Zen. Hello. Welcome in. And if you haven't checked out fishroom.link, there's a website where a lot of the fish tubers are on. Hey, Annette, welcome in. Snails, bucket list snails. I never thought of that, Annette. Sorry.
Yeah, there as well. I'd love to have some rabbit snails. They're cool.
Yeah. But you know what? Let's hit it off with one of your favorites. Should we? Hey, for those who don't know, Jim Aquatics got a big list of great, phenomenal fish. I only asked for 5. Okay, 5.
That was actually a very big list. You asked for 5, and it was just impossible. I started writing down 5, and I was like, oh, but what about this one? And this one? And there's also this one. And even the 15 that I have, so I went 10 over. Actually, no, we have 16. I added a bonus one in there as well. So 16 fish, and there's still plenty more that I definitely want. And then there was also the subject of dream tanks. So these are dream fish, but then I also have dream tanks, and then obviously for that as well. So that isn't in this list, but that is something as well. I do have dream tanks and like entire communities and stocking.
I like it.
So yeah, because obviously with the in-laws, I've got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 18 tanks at the moment, and I've taken up all the PowerPoints in the house. So the parent-in-laws have banned me from any more tanks. So I'm at the limit of what I'm at, but when I get my own place, it's just going to be a mini zoo. It'll be nuts.
So in other words, once you get your own place, there ain't no stopping, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. The bug has been started, and it's only been stopped because the parent-in-laws have been like, absolutely no more fish, no more tanks. I walk in with a bag now, and they go, what the hell is in that? Get that out the door. Things in. So at the moment, it's more ask for forgiveness than permission. It's easy to ask for forgiveness than permission. So I'll chuck a fish in the tank, and they'll be like, oh, has that always been there? It's like, yeah, that's been there since the beginning. We've always had that.
Exactly.
He's just been hiding really well.
Yeah. So the way it sounds, you might be setting up a fish gallery, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, when we get my partner is very against the arachnids and reptiles and that sort of thing, whereas I'm really into that as well. So it'll be a designated fish and reptile room because he said no spiders in the house anywhere near him. So everything will be out of my own little designated area. Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So do you think that the reason that the list is so big, since you take care of so many tanks, has that changed the way you've seen the different species? Has it broadened your horizon?
I think so. I think it's more just being in the hobby as well and being more experienced in the hobby as I go on. Because obviously in the beginning, we don't really know too much about the different kinds of fish. You're like, oh, it's a fish. They're all fish. Fish can go together with other fish. And then as you get into it, you realize they come from all these different areas in the world and different water parameters, different tank mates and all this sort of thing. So then you realize you can't just stick them all together in one tank and have this mixed tank. In the beginning, to me, and I think everyone, that looks really appealing, like this tank with, I don't know, clown loaches and some tetras and an Oscar and like all these weird different things. And that looks really good when you don't know anything because it's all these cool different fish. But once you get into it, me personally, someone even sent me a reel the other day and it was a tank like that. And I just looked at it and cringed because now that I had the experience, I know that they're like totally different and they should not be together. So looking at it, I look at those tanks and I go, oh my God, what is going on? So that's my perspective of it. So now I like all these fish and I'm really interested in like where they come from and especially biotope aquariums. Obsessed with biotope aquariums. So obviously to get the right biotope for each species, you have to have these multiple tanks. So that's where the multiple tank addiction started. I want to keep all these fish, but I want to do it properly and give them the correct requirements and the parameters that they need. So obviously separate tanks for them all. So yeah, that's where I'm on that.
Wow, good info. Now I'm not okay. I'm not that really. I know what they are, the bettas, but I don't know which one they are.
So that guy, he is. I'm gonna butcher these names because I do not do Latin, but he is the Betta alba magenta. Probably said that completely wrong, but the common name is strawberry betta for those guys. So they are more of like a nano dwarf species, and they are a wild type. So, and wild type of betta, they come from Thailand natively. Actually, no, sorry, those guys are not from Thailand. They're all from Indonesia bettas, but these guys specifically are from Borneo. And they're actually mouth breeders, which is really cool because most bettas, they're bubble nest builders. They all have the labyrinth organ, which allows them to breathe in from the surface. But these guys are actually mouth breeders, which is really interesting compared to their bubble nest relatives. So yeah, they're really
so the same idea as cichlids then.
Very similar, yeah, in the terms of the way that they breed. It's just totally different. So these guys are from Borneo, as I said before, so Indonesia, so quite acidic, tannin-rich water, so quite a lower pH compared to your cichlids. But yeah, in breeding terms, very similar. They are mouth breeders.
Nice. And these guys could thrive in what, a 20-gallon?
Yeah, so these guys, you really want 20 to 40 gallon. These guys are special in particular because obviously with bettas, you're not meant to combine bettas together with your splendors, which is what you find in the aquarium hobby. They're betta splendids. Whereas these guys, because they're wild types, they can be kept in either pairs or small community groups. So obviously if you want to keep two, they only reach 2.5 to 3 centimeters big. So they don't need a ridiculously large tank, but about 20 gallons. But obviously the more that you have, if you do want to do that community, you would need a larger, more like a 50 or 60 gallon. Just depends on how many you want to put in one tank.
And these would thrive in, are these 100% freshwater or are they brackish?
No, so these guys are freshwater. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes because I wrote too much information about these guys.
I can tell you, y'all, she's good at what she does.
Thank you.
She's down to detail.
So yeah, just mouth breeders kept in groups, and freshwater. These guys, there is one that is alkaline, but I think that's the next one that we're going to be talking about, and they are found in brackish water.
Yeah, and these would thrive in a black tank, like a high tannins.
Yeah, so generally it's what we call a black water tank. So lots of tannins, lots of tannic acid, so like your capata leaves and all your leaf litter botanicals, and they really enjoy that, and lots of heavy like leaf litter to break their line of sight, just little caves and nooks that they can claim as their own little territories.
You see this tank over here?
Yeah, something like that they would love.
Yeah. By the way, that's what the mollies are in, by the way.
Some black water tanks are generally pretty good for your live bearers. They tend to fare up a little bit better in there.
The only problem, they're breeding the Western rabbits. Like, come on, stop it. I know you're happy and all, but hey.
Yeah, live bearers, I always recommend just to go like sexes only. If you want all females, do all females. If you want all males, do all males. Because if not, you're going to be overrun in months.
Right. Yeah. That's another subject I could talk about, but here's another one of your favorites.
Oh, yes, I love these.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so these are the macromosas, and they're actually critically endangered. So there's not very many of them left in the wild, but they're a beautiful fish. So I'd actually love to try and get a captive bred program of these guys going, just to try and get their numbers up. But yeah, they are beautiful, and they're another one that is a mouth breeder, so really cool. Not like your typical bubble nest builders, but they still have their labyrinth organs, so they can breathe oxygen from the surface. And they are one of the larger ones, so they can get to 9 to 10 centimeters. And they've got just like a really cool body type compared to your standard betta, which I think is really fascinating. But these guys are a pure freshwater as well. So, and they do like slightly acidic water, so more to the 4 to 6 on the pH scale.
And these bettas, both of these, are these been able to be cultured or bred in the hobby?
So yeah, they have been captive bred, and a lot of them, like the populations that you can buy over in Australia, particularly, they are captive bred rather than wild caught. But yeah, they are. You can still get wild caught. I just don't see them too often over here, probably because of our strict import laws. We can't really get wild caught.
Right. Because, some reason I have not seen these over here at all.
Yeah, you don't really see them too often. Even over here, they're not just like sold in regular pet shops. They're something that you really have to look for in a specialty breeder. So
Right.
They're not too popular, but a really beautiful fish and a wild type as well, which is cool.
And when they're hobby bred, do they lose that color?
No, so this is exactly the same. Even if you breed them in like the aquarium industry, they'll still hold that color. Yeah, it's the wild color, and just what they have. The females, this is a male in the picture, so they are a bit more colorful. The females are a little bit duller and more of like a browny copper color, but the males do have a beautiful iridescent blue through them.
So do the males, are they as aggressive as the hobby bred bettas?
No, so these guys are the ones that we were talking about before. The males, especially when they're breeding like any fish, they do become very territorial and protective, especially if they are holding their babies in their mouth. So they do become a little bit more aggressive. And these guys, they're actually called wide mouth bettas, so they can open their mouth really wide, which is cool. But yeah, these two, they can be kept in like community groups because they are that wild type, which is more peaceful. I won't say completely peaceful because they still do have that aggressive tendency to them. They're definitely 1,000 times more peaceful than the betta splendids that you buy in the industry.
Right. Yeah. So these could be, they would thrive in a community tank of tetras, mollies, guppies.
They can do, but as I was saying before, they are called largemouth bettas, so they can open their mouths really large. So anything smaller than their mouth, they will eat. So like little amino shrimp, ghost shrimp, any small tetras like herbivores and stuff like that, they will eat. But anything bigger than them, they probably will try to. But as long as they can't fit in their mouth, as general rule with all things, if it can fit in its mouth, it's going to eat it. Unfortunately, it's a fish world. But yeah, as long as it can't fit it in its mouth, and obviously not stupidly big either, or it's going to eat it, then somewhere in between, that'd be all good. Yeah.
All right. We did bring some more people in. Hey, Zen Ginger, welcome in. How you doing, Mandy? Is that how you spell it?
Yes, that's how you spell that other one. Do not ask me how to pronounce it. I already butchered it.
I wasn't even going to try and say that, because I really messed it up.
Yeah, the macrostoma, which is the one that we're looking at before. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I honestly don't know, but we have pronounced those before at the shop, so I think I'm saying that one right. Don't quote me.
So both these bettas are available at your store, eh?
Yeah, you can buy them here in Australia. There's a website called Seven Fishes, which stocks a lot of wild type of bettas, which you can get over here. Over the last years, they have kind of gone down in quality. I think that may have changed ownership, but yeah, you can get them if you know where to get them.
Cool. Now I need to add those to my list, the bucket fish. That way I can, Hey, I don't know if I told you, but I do got 25 aquariums right now, and that's too many. I'm trying to downsize, not upsize.
Never too many tanks.
It's on the verge. It's on the verge. Too many.
You're talking to the wrong person here for that.
I know, right? Okay. Hey, since we both had a list, bucket list, y'all. Now this is my favorite. For those who don't know, and what is that?
Frontosa.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what kind. There are a couple of kinds.
The guy I got this meal from told me it's a Burundi.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, right. I think he got the wrong fish.
Yeah. I'm
You,
unfortunately unable to comment on that. I know that they're frontosas and South American cichlid, South African, sorry. No, American. Are they American or African, the frontosas?
he's African.
They are African. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about as far as I go with those guys. I know they're frontosas, and then there's multiples, and that's about as far as I go with them.
Right. Now, Fantosa, if it is a Burundi, okay, it don't really matter if Blue Zare or whatever, but they're all from Lake Tanganyika in Africa. It's one of the three rift lakes. There's Lake Malawi, Lake Victoria, and Lake Tanganyika. Lake Tanganyika has become one of my more sought out places of keeping those species, which you'll see in the future. Tonight's live stream. Some more that's on my bucket list from that lake as well. But this is the male that has chosen for my logo. For those that don't know, this is my logo. His name is Vibes, by the way. If you haven't figured it out, this guy is Vibes. So
Very fitting name.
yeah, I thought he always brought the good vibes.
Yeah.
Now, like I was saying earlier, it looks like he's more than just a Burundi Fantosa, because he had the blue. So I'm wondering. Okay, this guy was a rescue. For those that don't know, this was a rescue that I picked up a couple years ago. But he looks like he might have been like almost a hybrid or a mixture of two different Burundis, maybe with the blue Zare. Or yeah, because you see the blue on his mouth and on his fin, which most Burundis are black and white. Now, okay, depending on the Lake Tanganyika, where you collect them at, they will show different colors of blue. Some are really the blue Zare. I actually have a blue Zare as well over in another tank, and he's the same size. But and he is definitely blue on this, but he definitely resembles. But yeah, and this would be a harder water. If you have hard water, Fantosis would be a good choice. Now, of course, a small tank, I'd keep a pair of these in. Now, I wouldn't keep prepared normally. I'd recommend 6 or 7 or more of these together. In that case, you'd probably put in a 125 gallon tank or bigger. So this is not like a nano fish, y'all. And this guy is right now, he's like 9 inches long right now in the picture. And they'll get up to about 15 inches long at full adult size. So he's another fish that really, I mean, they're in the aquarium hobby, but the majority of hobbyists couldn't even keep this guy. Okay, they could keep him, but he wouldn't thrive. He would just survive. But yeah. And if your water is soft or low pH, you can add limestone rock. Now, in my aquarium, some of you already know how it looks. I keep holy rock, which is limestone. Then I got a Aragonite for the substrate. You know, I wouldn't have to because the water is really hard, but it bounces a little better. That way, it doesn't fluctuate so much.
Definitely better to keep it stable.
Yes. Hey, we got some more people come in. Stephen P. Lumphead guppy. The Fantosa. That's not a guppy, Stephen P. That's a big guppy.
Guppy on steroids.
No, it must have been bred many years. MNC, welcome in. Hey, Red Laser, welcome in. Hey, for those who are coming in, this is my new co-host, or one of them. So, her name is Gem Aquatics. Is that a YouTube channel or just Instagram? And can you confirm this is her Instagram? Hold on.
Does look like my Instagram. At the moment, it's just Instagram and TikTok. I do have a YouTube channel, but we haven't posted anything on it yet. So you can subscribe, but I don't know when I will be posting videos up there.
All right. Hey, Jim, can you comment in the chat?
Yes.
That way,
that
way my moderators can grab your channel and put it up. Yeah, Zen, I'm looking up right now. Yeah, that is Gem Aquatics. That is the right one. that's the best one we have, y'all.
Is it
So,
going
yeah.
to work? Oh, it let me post this time.
It
Couldn't
did.
This last time, yeah, it worked this time.
I remember that last time. That was weird.
Yeah, don't know what happened there, but working this time.
Maybe the stars, the moon, the sun lined up perfectly. It went through.
Must have. Looking down on us today.
Awesome. Thanks, Zen. Yeah. If you have a TikTok, y'all, go ahead and follow her on TikTok and follow her on Instagram. And Zen, if you don't mind putting her channel as well, because hey, she has good information and she might be bringing as good topics, etc. on YouTube. So go ahead and follow her on YouTube as well. You don't have to give us a description.
We'll do when we get some time to breathe, when life settles down a little bit.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, this might be a new thing, occurrence every month. Right now, we're thinking like once a month, we're doing a collaboration together here on YouTube. So awesome! Woo, 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 woo! So
What is
adding
epic?
to, okay. Hey, you know what? Let's take a little break. General Cross wants to know FFL, what it is. Okay. What we'll do, I'm gonna add it to the screen. Hold on, y'all.
Educate the Australian.
Yes. I'd love to do that. And now you don't have to be you don't have to pay a monthly fee to look at the website. But if you want to sponsor them or give them some feedback, they will love it. Okay, after stage, I'm gonna go.
Oh yeah, you were talking about this last time.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's go live. Let's see who's live right now. Okay, we got Glassbox Hero. He's also live. I know that he's live every Saturday night. So is Aqua Funk. King of DIY. He's live. I don't know. Looks that way. I don't know. Anyways, Gina's Reef and Glassbox Hero. They do a collaboration every Saturday night at this time. So yeah, they're live. They're good friends of mine. And then Vibes Aquatics is live. And Power Aquatics, he's also live. So this just shows you who's live right now. And of course, it will show you who was live earlier, at what time, etc. The calendar. Run through it. It'll tell you who's live and who's going live at certain times. Now, this is just for those that do a weekly live stream. Every week, you know. Ben Ochart, every Saturday morning, Central Time, 11 o'clock. He goes live every Saturday morning. Now, some of these are old. Hey, Fishon.link, moderators, if you're looking at this, it probably wouldn't hurt to double check and make sure all these are accurate, that these are all going live at these times, and if they're still doing it yet. I know some of these have backed off from going live regularly, so you might want to fix that. That way, it makes it easier for everyone. Like that, it's showing that we go live every Saturday night, same time. Now, it's just for those that weekly. Come on.
Cool little site that you guys have got.
Yeah, and this is about 90% of fish tubers on here.
That's really,
what?
That's really cool.
And you know, select small channels. It gives you an idea of who's all here. This is all the different channels that are on here.
Very nice. I wish we had something like that over here. I'd definitely be joining on to that.
And Zen is actually just adding you to here as well. That way, people find you.
Perfect. Love that.
And then also the local fish stores as well are on here.
Yeah.
fish aquatic websites on here, fish events coming up. You know, like Aquashella Daytona.
Definitely have to come over for one of them. I just saw the recent post for the last Aquashella. It looked awesome.
Yeah. Hey, if someone wants to sponsor Gem Aquatics to come to America, come to Aquashella, she'll love it, y'all.
My DMs are open. Let us know.
Yeah, exactly, right?
More than happy. Want to sponsor me for anything? Let me know and I'll be there.
And for those that don't know, there's a little side note. Gem Aquatics takes care of Katie Cichlids aquariums while Katie is here in America.
Yeah, so I run my own business doing tank maintenance and pet sitting. That's why I've been so flat out at the moment. It's just been looking after other people's tanks. That's why I haven't had time to do my own content creation or anything like that. But yeah, Katie is one of my clients. So whenever she goes away, I go and look after her fishies for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll do a side note. I pay y'all. I actually pay a monthly fee. I'm a patron. That way, I can use some of the extra things you can use on that website if you're a patron of the website. So you get extra benefits. So I thought it was worthwhile. So I went ahead and signed up. So yeah, that's what Fishon.link is.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hey, Mac B, bottom of the chat. Welcome in, Mike B. Sound like Clark. Hey, Jesse, how you doing? There you go, everyone. Instagram, TikTok. Yeah. Lads, what's up? I got Gem Aquatics, my new co-host. For those who don't know, this would be, for now, it'll be once a month, a collaboration. Until maybe once Gem Aquatics maybe a little free time. Maybe we'll do it more often, but until then, stay tuned. Nathan Hovey, welcome in. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm frozen.
I don't know if that was just on my end, but I guess it's on everyone that you're half frozen.
You know what? I'm gonna put a fish up here for Gem Aquatics to talk about. And I'm gonna have to step out and come back in because it's frozen. Which fish is next on your side?
Mine are all over the place. So betters were third on my list. So I don't know, do you want to do axolotls?
Okay.
The fish, not fish.
There?
Yeah.
Okay. Take it away.
All right, so we got axolotls. They're, as I was saying before, they're not really a fish. They're more of an amphibian. I should say more of an amphibian. They are an amphibian. So not a fish, an amphibian, but they are from Mexico and they are only found in, sorry, excuse me, I'm still overcoming my cold from last week. Oh, sorry, just dying for a second. Bloody hell. All right, we're back. So axolotls, they're found in 2 freshwater lakes over in Mexico, and there's only 1,000 of them left in the wild. So they are critically endangered, and it is due to this because of the poaching of them for their industry. A lot of people love axolotls and don't realize how much care goes into them, and especially with Minecraft, and there's been a lot of movies and books released. The kids are really into the axolotls and just want to grab them. So the one thing that I can say about axolotls is do your research before you get them, because there is a lot that goes into them, especially being over here in Australia. You don't see them too commonly because they're really hard to keep. The main thing with these guys is they need to stay really cold. So they need to stay between 16 and 20 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure off the top of my head what that is in Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, you're going to have to Google that. But they can't go over 24 degrees Celsius. That's as warm as they can go. And over here in Australia, especially Queensland where I am, I'm up in the top end of Australia where it's really quite warm. So our tanks sitting without heaters are about 23, 24 degrees. And especially in summer, they sit at 30 degrees. So already way too hot for them. So generally in summer, if you want to keep an axolotl, you either have to run a chiller on them, which becomes quite an expensive setup, or you do have to tub them and put them in fridges for a couple of times a year. So if you're living with anyone else or sharing your fridge with anything, they may be a little bit startled if they open it and find an axolotl in there. So not a lot of people well, a lot of people like keeping these, but not a lot of people realize the work that goes into them. And unfortunately, they do pass. These guys are also temperamental because of the like settings that they can be kept in. They have to have quite a long tank that's quite bare. They can't see very well, and they like search for food off sense of feeling. So if anything moves next to them, they will kind of just reach out and try and eat it. So whether that be another fish, another axolotl, some sort of tank mate, they will either accidentally eat it or eat the other axolotl that's in with them. So it's not recommended to cohabitate them because they are cannibalistic, especially at a younger age. So as they get older, they can sometimes be kept together, but it's not recommended because they generally will eat each other, which isn't great. Cool thing about them, though, is they can regenerate their limbs. So if one does get bitten off, they can slowly regenerate it over time. But ideally, you don't be wanting to be putting them together to allow that to happen in the first place. But also with their sense of diet where they can't see very well, they do kind of have like this suck action where they kind of just feel something swim past and just inhale a load of water and suck it in and suck in whatever's in front of them. So they will suck up any rocks or stones that are in front of them. So it is very important to make sure if you are going to be putting substrate with them that it is very fine so it can pass through and they're not going to get impacted, or that it is large enough that they're not going to eat it in the first place. Fine sand is recommended as a part of their diet because as they take in that food, it acts like bird with shell grid and stuff where they ingest it to actually help break down the biomes and stuff in their gut and help pass through what they're eating. So sand is beneficial. You just have to be careful about the size of the sand that you're putting in with them. So yeah, axolotls, critically endangered. Shouldn't really have them if you can't care for them properly, and there is a lot more that goes into them than just stick him in a tank. So make sure you do some research if you do want to get an axolotl, especially if you live in Australia. It gets very warm here.
Yeah, same here in Texas. It's getting very warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome in everyone. Hey Ruby, if you're watching this now or in the future, Ruby is a young girl that been in the hobby now probably 3 years, and she got her first axolotl about a month ago, and she is tickled pink to have it.
Yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous. They're one of my bucket lists and probably have been for probably since I even like before I started this hobby. My dad always told me stories growing up. He used to have axolotls. That was the only thing that he had growing up. So my whole childhood I've heard about axolotls and I've always really wanted one. But yeah, just the tank size and commitment that they require. We just don't have the time and money for that right now. I don't have the money to be setting up a tank with a chiller. And I really want, my dream tank is to be when we move into our own house to have a stairwell that goes like up the wall. And I'll have like a plant terrarium that goes up the wall and the axolotl tank at the bottom. And it'll just be this really pretty like terrarium sort of thing. So that's my dream axolotl setup. It would just be a really long shallow tank with an axolotl in it and a really cool planted wall going up the staircase.
Nice.
Yeah,
so,
can't wait.
How do are these associated with salamanders in any way?
Yes. So axolotl is a broad term that all like the Mexicans just use as the name for salamanders. So axolotls are salamanders, salamanders are axolotls. They don't actually have specific names for each other. But axolotls are salamanders that have been stuck in that stuck in the juvenile stage before metamorphosis. In scientific studies and laboratory settings, they can be injected with hormones to induce this metamorphosis, and they can change into fully developed salamanders. But in like just aquarium settings, it is very rare. But it can be done if you do feed them certain foods with certain hormones. So you do have to be careful what you feed them in captivity because you can trigger that metamorphosis, and then you will need a whole land area and that sort of thing. So you do just have to be a little bit careful with that, but it is very rare. But yeah, they are
That's just cool.
Yeah, it's just a blanket term, axolotl. So yeah, salamanders are classed in there as well. They're very interesting little fish. It is cool that they're stuck in that juvenile state. They should transfer into salamanders, but they just never do. They stay in that juvenile state, which is really cool.
Is there any other creatures like that can get stuck in a certain form?
I'm sure that there is. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. There are, I know, certain tadpoles. Some tadpoles just get stuck in the juvenile stage. They never metamorphosize into frogs.
Right.
I think there's bullfrogs, which are very common in that state. I think, I don't know, I think it's something to do with the temperature or something. I do recall reading something. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, there is something similar with the tadpoles. If they get too warm or too cold, they won't metamorphosize and they'll just stay as tadpoles forever and just get really large.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. So I'm sorry, I froze up there. I actually had to go out. I unplugged the camera, plug back in, Try it again. I tried a couple of times until it finally unglitched. Technology nowadays, I don't like it.
It's great until it's not. And yeah, I do apologize for talking really fast. That's just me. I've always talked really fast. In high school, I got the nickname Eminem because all my public presentations I just absolutely rapped through it. So if I am talking too fast, just let me know and I will try and slow it down.
No, that's totally fine. I've actually been people have been telling me for years that I talk way too fast. Which
Yeah.
I've been trying to slow it down. It does help. I moved here to Texas, which we have a lot slower drawl down here.
Yeah.
But even that, sometimes if I get really excited,
Yeah,
that's always stopping me.
Yeah, excited. I think it's also the ADHD that plays into it. There's one train of thought, and it also like tracks off into different things. So if I don't talk really fast and get that one train out, I go on a tangent and start talking about other shit. So I just got to get the message out quick and talk about what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're gonna lose focus.
You start talking about something else.
Axolotls are so popular here, people are giving them away. Right? Aquagon Zen? Exactly. I see that all the time. Maybe in the future I might have them. Maybe.
That's awesome to hear though, because you're in Mexico and the 2 lakes that they found, there is only 1,000 left, so they're critically endangered. Like at this point, any sort of minor event could wipe out the natural population. They'd be extinct in the wild. So it is cool that there are this many in captive like breeding programs, and then that way, if that situation ever does happen, we can hopefully reintroduce them.
New challenge. Jim and I have a talk off. Hey, Jesse, that would be that'd be pretty cool.
See who wins.
Hashtag rap goddess.
Yeah.
Hey, she's good at it, y'all.
Lots of information in my brain doesn't come out articulated enough.
Okay. Moving on to another species, a bucket list fish. Now this is my number 2 on my list. And what is that?
Clown loach.
And where do they come from?
Ooh, I don't actually know where the clown loach comes from. I'd have to go back into your list.
Oh, that's cheating. No, it's good. These come from. Hey, actually, I'll be honest with y'all. I didn't even know a lot of these species. I didn't even know where they come from until I started doing research about them. Now,
if I was to say South Africa, but I'm sure. Sorry, South America, but I'm sure I'm totally off of that.
From Indonesia.
Yeah. Oh, really? I would have never guessed that.
I wouldn't either. I was like, what?
Yeah, I would have said Africa or America. They do not look like an Indonesian fish.
Right. Now, you normally don't see them adult size anywhere. Now, occasionally a fish store might have it in a bigger size, but the majority ones you'll see maybe about an inch or 2 long, 3 inches long. That's about it. Now, I do got one in here that's like 8 inches long over here. And if you want to do a setup with the Frontosas, like I showed earlier, they do pair very well with Frontosas, by the way. You got the black and white, and you got the orange and black, which is kind of contrasting, but they are bigger fish, y'all. So I would not encourage, if you don't have a 75-gallon tank or bigger, I would not recommend getting them. And they're more of a schooling fish, so you need at least 6 or more for them to be happy together. I got 6 of them over here in my tank. And
amazing.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Go ahead.
Yeah. They're amazing schools, the clown loaches. They're one of the species that really annoyed me when I worked in the aquarium industry, like in the shops, because everyone would come in and they're known to eat snails. Like it was everyone's snail solution. And obviously, as you were saying before, they're tiny in the shop. So people didn't realize how big they'd get. And A, you try and tell them they're a schooling fish, you need 6 or more, they need their buddies. And B, they get massive. Like you're going to be returning it in a couple of weeks, or you need to upgrade your tank. And no one would ever believe us. And the amount of clown loaches that unfortunately just got sold to the wrong people or died in captivity was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it really frustrated me working in this because like every 5th customer that would come in wanted a clown loach for the snail problem. And it's like, it's not the choice. For a 25-liter tank, a clown loach is not an option for you. Like, no, not happening. So they're beautiful fish. And I've actually got a couple of clients with full growns at the moment, and they are stunning full grown. But yeah, you need to know what you're getting into. They're a schooling fish, and they do get really large, and they need the space. But they're a gorgeous fish.
And I'm thinking they get to a 2 foot long, a full grown, I think.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is phenomenal.
really wide as well, like chunky boys.
And these are also they're prone to get sick easier
Yeah,
in some states because they don't have scales, y'all. They're like look like dolphins.
yeah.
Now I have not looked. Okay, my research. I did look at what family they're from, but they're a bottom dweller, so they scavenge a lot. The diet would be algae, like veggie diet mostly. Now they will eat protein, which I do feed my funtosis protein occasionally, and the clownwitches do eat some of that. It don't bother them. Now I would recommend getting them all the time, high protein, but like I was thinking earlier, they are schooling fish. Originally, I had only one. It was a rescue. Someone's tank was too small and messaged me and said, "Hey, can you come rescue a clown roach?" At that time, it was only 5 inches long. I said, "Sure, whatever." I put it in my funtosis, but I didn't notice. Hey, this is what I noticed about it. It was always hiding. It wouldn't come out. It was very scared, shy. Of course, me being a hobbyist, I did my research, and I found out that these are schooling fish, and they thrive in school. So I went and got some more.
They're social and boisterous when they're in schools. It
Yes.
definitely makes a difference. You see the change. It's crazy, especially bloodworms and brine shrimp and stuff as well. They absolutely love their worms. Snails and bloodworms, chuck some of them in and see them go nuts. Their feeding behavior is just so cool.
Yeah, these guys are always out now. 6 of them, and now of course the big one. The smaller ones are not quite as big as the big one, but they do this. They tumble a lot.
That's so cool.
And what's really cool is when they sleep.
I wouldn't call it cool. It's terrifying. They give you a heart attack every time. You think they're dead.
Right. The first time I saw it, do what? I just got the first one I got right. Do what? You mean I rescued this fish? I brought it home and it dies now? What? Then I went to the glass and moved it. Why?
The rummy nose tetras. We've got some rummy nose tetras in here, and they do the same thing. But when you stress them out, they go into like a play dead mode when you stress them. So whenever you add them to a new tank, they just float for 5 minutes. And the amount of people that throw out rummy nose tetras when they add them to a tank because they think they're dead and they're just playing. So if you ever add a fish and it looks like it's dead, leave it for at least half an hour. It's probably going to come back, and it's just a defense mechanism like the clown tetras. So yeah, give them a chance. They're probably just trying to play dead on you. Most times they succeed and it doesn't work beneficially for them. They get thrown out. Yeah, clown roaches sleeping, I don't think I'll ever get over that. The amount of times you go in and they jam themselves in the weirdest positions as well.
Yeah.
Like squeezed in between a rock somewhere. It's like, dude, seriously?
I just the kind of like humans. They find a cozy spot, just not humans, like toddlers. Find a cozy spot, just right.
Funny. Very factor fish.
Yeah, Jesse. Yeah, and now there is a pro about these fish, y'all. They are a slow grower, so a very slow grower. If you see one that's 8 inches long, that's not a baby, y'all.
6+ years on that.
Yeah, and normally when they're that size, they're not really cheap. Around here, the average for that size, 8 inch, $200 or more to each one, which is kind of discouraging to those that want to get a schooling of big ones. It's not really possible around here. So get the small ones, get them plenty of room to go out, y'all, and they will get to good size. You keep them fed, and yeah. Hey, Henry, Grand Fantasy, welcome in. Stephen White, how you doing? Welcome in. Hey, Stephen White. Jimmy Aquatic is from Australia. Stephen is from Spain. Welcome in. Sweet Acres, welcome in. I'm trying to catch up in the chat quick. Okay. Back to the fish list. What's next? Oscars?
Yeah, we'll do Oscars next. What's that? So that Tiger Oscar. So yeah, there's a couple of different Oscars that we can get over here. I don't know whether they're as widely available as you guys have them over there. Because over here, they're another one like the axolotls. A lot of aquarium shops don't stock them just because there's not a lot of keepers that can keep them correctly. And then if they do get released into the waterways, axolotls aren't really an issue species. If they get into the waterways, they're most likely going to get eaten by something, or they're going to not survive in the warmer waters. Whereas Oscars are the complete opposite of that. If an Oscar gets released into our natural waterways, they just go berserk. They take over, wipe out our natural populations, release diseases, and just cause absolute havoc. So a lot of aquarium stores don't release them because of the growth rate on them. They can grow like a stupid amount. I think it's like 6 inches in 3 months or something. So they get their size really quickly, really fast. And a lot of people aren't really expected for that. Like they expect something like the clownlet, which is just a really slow grower, have time to upgrade before they get to that point. But the Oscars are not that. They're a predator fish, live on high protein, and put on size really, really quickly. So they can go from that tiny little 3 centimeter baby that you see in an aquarium shop to a 60 centimeter fish in under a year. And a lot of people aren't prepared for that. So they end up releasing them into the waterways. And then, as I was saying before, they just create absolute havoc. So a lot of aquarium stores don't stock them. Sorry, my phone's going off. A lot of aquarium stores don't stock them just because of that reason. They know that they're going to get released and it's just not going to end well. So we can order them in from specialty wholesalers, but it's not something that you just see like for sale in a shop. But I would absolutely love to have one day. They're called water puppies because they act like dogs. They're so cool. You can put like ping pong balls in their aquarium and they'll come and pick them up and spit them at you. They'll spit rocks at the side of the glass if you haven't fed them on time. They're just very personable fish. They're awesome. And I would absolutely love to have it one day. That one in the photo there is the bumblebee Oscar. That's probably the one that I would go for. It's actually a wild type, the bumblebee, but we're starting to breed them here in captive populations. So you are starting to get your F1, F2. So they're not as sensitive. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the wild caught. I'd go F2 or more captive bred just because they're a little bit more hardier. The wild caught, obviously, they're used to pristine, exact water parameters from the areas they've come from. So you got to be a little bit more onto it. Whereas the captive bred, they are a little bit more easygoing and a little bit hardier than your wild types. But yeah, I would absolutely love an Oscar one day. They are from South America in the Amazon basin. So there are a couple of these species in this list that do cross over with each other. As I was doing this, I actually realized that I am quite biased towards South American fish. I don't know why my brain gets South American and South African mixed up all the time, but South Americans, I didn't even realize that I really like them until I put this list together and I realized that 80% of them are from South America. So turns out that I really like the South Americans.
So what size aquarium does someone need for them to thrive?
So this is where the downside comes with these guys. When they're little, you could probably get away with a minimum of a 4 foot, but ideally, as they get older, you want a 6x2x2 for a single fish, and that's where the downside comes in. So this one behind me is a 6x2x2, so you need that for one single fish, which is a little bit annoying for some people. For me, I'd love it because it's the personality about the fish. I want the fish. I love my aquascapes. So I've got my other tanks for my aquascapes, and then I'd have that tank just for the actual fish and the personality of the fish. So it would just be all for him, everything for him. Whereas a lot of people don't like having this ginormous tank with one fish in it, and that's all they can put in it. Whereas I personally wouldn't mind that. So negative to some, not a negative to me.
So if you wanted a 6 of these Oscars, what size tank would you need?
Ridiculously big, probably 18 foot by like 6 foot. Like massive, ridiculous pond. And then even with that, if you grow them all up, like add them all as juveniles and let them all grow up together, they may be okay. Once they reach sexual maturity, you may have to remove a couple that just don't want to play the game. But generally, if you try and add 2 already mature adults, they will just kill each other. So you do have to grow them up as juveniles. And then even still then, once they reach that maturity, could go 50-50. You may have to remove one. The albinos are cool.
Yeah, it's one fish. Okay, I have rescued Oscars. I rescued them. See, 2 years ago, I was active in rescuing fish. Anyways, and the one rescue I did was actually an Oscar pair, and they were adult. They were humongous.
Yeah.
I told the people I don't really want these guys.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was me and I had another local rescuer. So between me and them, we were able to give them a new home.
And that's
But
great. And yeah, they do live for 15 to 20 years. So they are a big commitment. It's not like a fish that's going to live for 4 or 5 years and then you can replace it with something else. They're a long life commitment. And yeah, you're going to be stuck with it for a bit. But yeah, when we were running our rescue program, that's the main things that we saw, the axolotls, Oscars, betters, and goldfish, because people just weren't expected of their requirement and just couldn't handle it anymore. So they either released them, which is really, really bad. And that's why at the shop that I was working at, they actually set up the rescue program so people would bring them in rather than releasing them or flushing them and letting them into our waterways. And yeah, they were the main ones that we saw. So I guess that's why I have a soft spot for them as well. I realize that they get neglected quite a lot and don't get the proper care requirements. So I feel bad for them.
right. And at what age do they need to be for breeding?
Oh, I'd have to double check that, but I'd say less than a year, probably around the 6 to 9 month mark when they reach that sexual maturity size. It's mainly size with these guys rather than age, so it just depends when they actually reach that size. If they're on a higher protein diet and get fatter and bigger before then it'll be earlier. But if they're being starved or not fed very often, it'll probably take a little bit longer.
Right. Hey, Sonny G, welcome in. Don't think Oscar will work with my Jaguar and Midas.
They're all really big, possibly. See what happens.
See what happened. I like this.
But don't see what happens and let them kill each other and then remove. When you add them, observe them the whole time. Be responsible about it. Don't just go, oh, we're going to have a fight scene and chuck them in and see what happens. Think about it responsibly and put them in and monitor them. And if you notice any aggressive behavior, remove it before it becomes a problem.
Right, exactly.
Jaguar cichlids are another illegal one over here that we're not allowed to have.
What?
Yeah, not allowed jaguars because of their invasive problem as well. I'm actually surprised we're allowed. It won't surprise me if in a couple of years they put them on the ban import list as well, because they're becoming a really big problem over here in our waterways just down here. Like you can go down with a fishing rod and pull out an Oscar, like it's just getting ridiculous. So they are starting to become an issue over here as well.
Okay, next fish, y'all. And this is off my bucket list. Now, some of you already knew this, but I had to add the list because it's there. Now, mostly, so far, the 3 fish that I've added to the list, I already have already. Which is kind of...
This fish, are they, if you've already got them?
But they're still on my bucket list fish. I just mean I already got to my bucket list already. So basically, I'm basically done with my bucket list, y'all.
I had Aliotes and Ghost Knife, but I took them off because they're in the tank behind me here.
Oh. I think she called me out, y'all. Oh, wow. This is a Sylvan Molly. Now, there are two different types of Sylvan Mollies, the wild type here in America. Now, this is the type that I got. And you can actually get them out of Texas. Even the East Coast has them. Mexico, Arizona, local waterways, a lot of them will have it. Now here in Texas, I found them as of now in the Colorado River. They're everywhere. Down in San Marcos, in the river, and also in the spring. And the male, this is the male, by the way. Those didn't realize. The front of it's yellow. You got the blue tail. Very beautiful.
Did you know that you can only get male sailfin mollies? You can never find a female. The females won't get that big sail on them.
What?
Only your males will get the big sailfin on them. Females won't.
Now, since you mentioned it, I want to see if people heard wrong. She called me out. I want to see if I can regain my position. No, but you are right about it, though. The females might be a kind of drab. They remind me of a regular silver molly you get from a fish store. The males are really popping.
Yeah, the males are beautiful.
Now, I have noticed I got mollies right here beside me, right? but also I got outside as well, a summer tub. I've noticed the less dominant males are not as colored up. Kind of like the cichlid world. The dominant male is fully colored like that, and then you'll have ones that are kind of giraffe. They might have maybe a little bit of a blue on the tip of the tail, but that's about it. Now, if you have enough females in with them, you will have more than just one male that's fully colored up. But and you have these guys right here. They're in a 20-gallon high right now. Now, eventually, I do want to put them in a 90-gallon and just let them have fun. You know, fill it up. And they can be kept in fresh water, salt water, brackish. These guys are very hardy. Now, someone told me I need to start breeding them, like selective breeding. But I said, what's the point of that? I mean, these are beautiful in their own state. Why change them? The ones I already changed, they're already in the hobby. Why add to the hobby if we already got, you know? Because some of the males I will see yellow, some have orange, some have a blue tail, some have purple tail. And they're just all the colors show up. And hey, if you do want to go collecting, y'all, here in Texas, you do have to have a fishing license to go collecting. And make sure what species are legal or the ones that are illegal to collect. We have a few species here in Texas that are invasive and you ain't allowed to keep them. Then also, they cannot be a game fish. They have to be a fish that ain't on that list. If they're on the list, you can't keep them. Like bass, catfish, trout, etc. But yeah, these are considered bait fish, which even the bluegill are bait fish here in Texas. Because this was what the bigger fish eat on. So, it was a wonder. Let's go back to chat. I think I missed some comments. MNC. I like it. Yeah. The other species, I don't know the Latin name of the Sohan mollies, but they have a bigger fin. I know that. They're up in Kansas, Wisconsin, maybe. Very beautiful fish. And they're like almost double the size of these. Yeah, Steven. Yep. The female sailfin actually gets larger than the male. They do. But go ahead.
I was going to say body-wise. The body-wise gets bigger, but yeah, the males, the fins are bigger.
Right. Yeah. The Yucatan, I'm saying it right, Yucatan, get 5-6 inches. Yeah. These will get like 4 inches at the biggest. Yep. Now, I have put some videos out on my channel about collecting. I need to put some more out. But right now, it's a little too warm for that. Hey, MSC, that's not what I said. Can't keep me going. Oh, true. Okay. Moving on. Is this a fish?
Technically not. It's an invertebrate, but it's like the axolotl. It's a species, a dream species that I would like to keep.
And what are they?
So these guys are moon jellyfish. So kind of jellyfish. They're found in waters worldwide. I know they're a really cool one. You can keep them in like these little nano like desk sort of aquariums, which are really cool. They're called like Jellyfish X, and they're really cool. I'd like to have one day. I'm obsessed with jellyfish. Always as a child, jellyfish were my thing. I'd just run around screaming jellyfish. So I've always loved the jellyfish. And these ones are pretty much the only one that you can keep in captivity. Like there's cooler species that I would love to keep, but you just can't keep them in captivity. Whereas moon jellies, they're really easy to keep. And really cool thing about them is they have 4 stomachs, which is really interesting. So yeah, those little circles that you can see like through their cap at the top, that's actually their stomach. So they float around and collect food with their little stingers on their arms and pulse them up towards their four stomachs and digest their food, which is really cool. But yeah, these guys, they're not necessarily difficult to keep. They can keep them in a 3-gallon, so they don't need a ridiculously large amount of room. Obviously, that would probably only be 1 in a 3-gallon. If you wanted more, probably looking towards a 20-gallon. But the design of jellyfish aquariums are more of a circular style because they do have to have their water constantly like rotating to keep them buoyant, so they don't just sit anywhere. So yeah, there's a little bit of a special requirement, but not a difficult requirement. And obviously salt water as well, not fresh water.
And by the way, y'all, for those who don't know, here in America, if you've been to Aquashellas since last, I think Daytona, Florida was the first time, there's actually a jellyfish display that they actually, are they based out of Indiana? I can't remember. Melissa. If you're here in the chat, Melissa, maybe you can get this in one input. Melissa, are you the I think she's the owner, or you just one of the there's a partnership. Anyways, they had quite a few jellyfish displays at Aquashella, and actually Alex did an interview with her. And hey, moderators, you mind grabbing that link from his channel, Alex, which is Fathom Aquatics? They did an interview about the jellyfish. So what kind of food do you need to give them?
So these guys, they eat any sort of microorganism. So they'd eat isopods and amphipods, anything that's really microscopic in the water column. They just float around and pick it up. When you feed them in the aquarium, a lot of, like obviously fish and corals, you target feed. So you get your food in a little pipette and put it near their mouth and target feed them that way to make sure they're getting food. Whereas with these guys, you can't. You have to add it to the water and let it mix around and let them naturally catch it themselves. Otherwise, those little stingers that are on the end of their tentacles, they'll stop working properly and it'll disform their shape and they won't actually be able to like keep themselves buoyant and swim properly. So you do just have to kind of broadcast their food and let them catch it themselves and let them do their own thing. So feeding is a little bit more different with these guys, and they do need a really small like micron food rather than larger like brine shrimp and that sort of thing.
Right.
The other
is this statement correct? You cut them in half and have two.
I'm not 100% sure about that. I'd have to, sorry, excuse me. I'd have to Google that and double check. I do know that they can regenerate limbs, but if you cut it fully in half, I don't know whether it can regenerate 2 different organisms. Right. So I'd have to double check that.
They have no brain, heart, or eyes?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So the thing about that is, as we were saying backstage before, I really like the strobe lights and all different colors and rainbows and that sort of thing. And the cool thing about these guys' tanks is you can have sort of that disco glow effect that'll illuminate them. And because they don't have brains or hearts or eyes, nothing can stress them out. So you can get these same colored lights for your fish tanks, but I don't love running them because they're going to stress your fish out. No fish wants to be in a rave disco, whereas these guys, they don't have any emotional feelings, I guess you can say, so they're not going to be affected by it. So you can have a little rave disco, which is cool.
And for those that wondered, I asked her about my lights. I got going back here behind me. And she said she actually loves them. Like, cool. So, I took them on.
Glowing and sparkles is my thing.
Nice to know. Okay. There's a link, y'all, for Fathom Aquatics, the jellyfish tank. Her name is Melissa, by the way. I got to meet her 2 times. She's awesome, y'all. She's a young girl that's they actually have a factory. She gave me the name for it, but anyway, it's where they breed them, whatever, in captivity.
Mm-hmm. They're so cool, those setups. I've been to a couple of the local aquariums around here and been to the back jellyfish breeding room, and that's just insane. The little baby jellyfish are so cute.
Cute!
They're adorable. They look like little snowflakes, little drifting snowflakes.
Right. But I don't know. Can these guys thrive without the lights?
Yeah, they can go completely no lights if you wanted to. It's just, I don't know, cool element that you can add to the tank.
Right. Because I think, for me personally, long term, it probably drive me up a wall.
Yeah, definitely not long term all the time. Just a setting on there, like these guys are the Chihiro slides behind me, and then Fluval on these guys, and they have those interchangeable color settings, so you can set these to raves as well if you want to. But yeah, just prefer not to. So yeah, they do have the white light on there, but you can also change it to the changing light.
They're actually 95% water.
There you go. I didn't know that one.
I didn't either. That's cool. And are these poisonous at all?
These guys are not the moon jellies. They've got no stingers. They sting their prey and it's venomous to their prey, but obviously their prey is like microscopic, minute. To humans, it doesn't affect us at all. They're not like the blue bottles, the Irukandjis, or anything like that. They're not going to negatively affect you at all.
And do these get washed up on the beaches?
Yes. Yeah, they're probably one of the common ones that we see over here, the moon jellies, and also what we call blue bottles. I don't know if you get them over there, but blue bottles are quite dangerous over here. They can be life-threatening if you allow them to.
So, and the ones you see on the beach, are those already? Are they still alive or are they dead?
It depends. Like if they've just washed up, they're probably still alive, and you can chuck them in and they'll keep going. They get washed up with the tides because they're not very strong. They've got no brains. They just drift around in the current. So sometimes they get too close to the coast and they just get washed in with the waves and get washed up on the beach and dry out.
Cool. So now I'm figuring this all out. I've been seeing them for years on the beaches, like, and people always told me, "Don't touch them. They're poisonous."
Yeah, it depends on what they are, and you can always pick them up from the caps. The caps aren't the things that sting you; it's the actual tentacles. So as long as you stay away from tentacles, that's generally a good rule. If you pick up from the cap, you'll be all good. Don't go anywhere near the tentacles because there are a few species that look very similar, which are venomous. So just gotta be careful.
Okay, since we're on the saltwater topic, let's go to another saltwater fish, shall we? Now, as I was telling Jim backstage, all of my fish are your blah, original, everybody has them fish. The ones that she has on her list are the exclusive. This is your general Ocellaris clownfish. Now, I already got called out, so I'm gonna turn it on. I already got this in my aquarium. I got a pair of these, by the way, y'all. For those who don't know.
Are your guys assholes?
Do what?
Are your guys assholes or are they nice?
How do you describe if they are?
You put your hand in and the female goes berserk and rips chunks out of you.
Sure, try.
Yeah, so they're assholes.
But they're funny, though.
Out of all the fish that I work with, the clownfish are probably the most aggressive, and they're the smallest.
Right. And for those who don't know, the female is the bigger of the two.
Yeah.
And when they're born, they're all male.
Yes.
That's just weird.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And in the harems, if you keep them in big groups, there'll be one female and then there'll be a subdominant male. But then if that female ever dies off, the subdominant male will then turn female and then a new male will turn into the subdominant male, which is really cool. The hierarchies are just awesome.
That is just weird. And are these reef safe?
They are reef safe, yeah. So they will generally, well, it depends. They're classed as reef safe because you can keep them in marine tanks and they're not going to eat a coral. However, they can overhost coral. So if you've got an elegans or a hammer coral in there that isn't an anemone, yes, or a torch. So anemones have that symbiotic relationship where the clown and the anemone work together, whereas those other corals do not. So they can overhost them and stress them out, and the coral will decide to bail out because they've just had enough of being like touched. So they can overhost certain corals. So they're reef safe. They're not going to eat anything, but they can overhost corals and kill them that way. Which
I've lost some torches and ducklings. And usually they do it while I'm gone. Like if I go on a trip, it's like I got a nice tank, come home, and my caretaker said, they noticed in my torch. Like,
the torches
it's like they know I'm gone.
Yeah, torches are like hamsters. You sneeze and they decide to die.
Or you look at them sideways. Like, oh no, they die.
Torches are so finicky.
And anemones have a mind of their own as well, y'all. Those who don't know. And anemones, if they ain't happy, they will travel around your tank like no tomorrow. And then, with everything's away, it will sting.
Mm-hmm.
which is not good for your corals because it will damage them, y'all.
Or you can just get a carpet nem that eats absolutely everything inside.
Yes. So the best idea is to have anemone only tank. Is the best idea to have.
100%.
And also be careful with what kind of filtration you have with these guys, with the anemones, because even with your wave makers, like powerheads, these little mean anemones will go inside them and get cut up.
They will
So,
mince themselves. Had a lot mince
Yeah.
themselves. Nem guards are a must if you want to do nems.
Yes. Now this fish probably got popular because of the movie, probably. What's her? What was her name?
Finding Nemo.
Yeah, there you go. It
And,
probably made it popular.
Yeah, it had the complete opposite effect that it was meant to have. It's similar to what's going on with the axolotls at the moment. When Minecraft released them, all the kids went, "Oh, that's so cool! I want one." And then they were overpoached from the wild, and people didn't really know how to take care of them. They ended up just dying off. So they had to replace them, and more got poached, and it was just a bad ordeal. It was meant to raise awareness and protect the reefs, and instead, it had the total opposite effect, and it actually had negative impacts on it.
Yeah.
Which is
Go ahead.
that was sad. A sad little fact about it.
Right. The reason I have them, I like there's so many things I can pull from them for teaching others, especially beginners in the hobby. There's so many similar things different about these fish that are not normal for the hobby.
Mm.
You know, and also Finding Nemo. I mean, you gotta have clownfish. You got a saltwater tank. I mean, you gotta have an asshole. You gotta.
The morphs that you can get in clownfish as well are beautiful. You can get some really cool color combinations in them.
Right. Now, mine are agriculture, for those who wondered. Now, since we're talking about clownfish quick, the bucket list, there is one bucket list clownfish I have not kept yet. I would want to do in the future. Those are the maroons.
Yes, I have a client with one. The size of them is insane. I didn't realize how big they got. They're beautiful. Yeah, he's got to be like 30 centimeters. It's ridiculous.
And they're beautiful too. Now, of course, there's different maroons. Lightning, it's like tomato. There's like a whole different select of different ones out there.
Yeah. That's so
But
cool.
Being aggressive, they're even worse to each other than the regular clownfish. But yeah.
Yeah, they're big a-holes. I definitely know. They're very territorial as well. The marine clowns that I look after, they've got like this little cave underneath a piece of live rock, which they've dug a little like den burrow out, but they expose the glass on the bottom. So I moved the sand back, not even 0.3 seconds later, the female is in there having a hissy fit, trying to move it all back out, picking it up with her mouth, spitting it out, moving it with her tail. So they're very personable, those guys, and very set on their ways. If something isn't the way that they like it, they will change it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, really.
Yeah. Yes, no, that's a good idea. We had one at the aquarium shop that I was working at, and she was very similar. You'd put your hand in there and come out, and there'd be all these little red index all over your hand where she'd bitten you and started to draw blood. So aggressive.
Yeah, actually, my first clown pair I had, she was the worst. I mean, her prior owner got rid of her because of that.
Yeah, so I worked with those guys for the 2 or 3 years that I was at the shop, and I formed such a close bond with them. There was 2 girls that I worked there, myself and this other girl, and we were the only ones that would touch the tank because everyone else was too scared of it. So they became like our little fish that we bonded with. And I went in there a couple of months ago, and they were for sale, and I don't have a marine tank set up, so I couldn't buy them. But yeah, they ended up selling them because myself and this other girl, we both left, so no one would put their hands in to clean the tank. So they ended up getting rid of them. I wanted them so bad. I came home to my partner. I was like, do we do it? Do we get the saltwater tank now just so I can get these clownfish pair that I think years? I was like, no, I can't do it. Another tank. So I hope they went to a good home because they were so cute.
Yeah.
But I was such a-holes.
Yep. Welcome in, Jay, not an aquarium guy. Good to see you. I would consider the clownfish as the pup. Maybe I'm wrong, but I consider them the puppies of the saltwater world.
Yeah, I'd call them very close to the Oscars. Yeah, Oscars are freshwater, and the clownfish are the saltwater version. Very similar personalities.
And I know it's not on topic, but seahorses.
Yes, I would love to try a seahorse tank one day, but emphasis on the one day when I get time for that. But yeah, seahorse tank is definitely another one of there that just missed the list.
How about pipefish?
Pipefish are really cool as well. Don't know if we can get them here, or if you can, they're definitely not readily available. You'd have to go hunting for them. I haven't seen them commonly sold, but they are a really cool one as well.
Actually, the seahorses and the pipefish, I see them occasionally. My one local fish store does normally stock seahorses, but the pipefish are very rare. Hey, welcome in, Power Aquatics! Woo, woo, woo! Hey, pal, I was actually talking about the mollies earlier, the wild silphid. Power Aquatics, if you have not met him yet, or you're not subscribed to him, he does a lot of collecting in the wild, y'all. And he's like in Louisiana area. So a lot of my species that I have here local, he either has them in his area or he knows them. So he's my backup. It's awesome.
Good contact to have by the sounds of it.
Yes. And he's been doing this probably 30, 40 years. Oh
wow.
Correct me on that pile. Maybe it's only 20. But I'm thinking it's like 30 years he's been doing this pile. So he's good at it, y'all. I'm just reading the chat, y'all. There's one thing I have not done, Aquagon Zen. I have not fragged anything yet. I'm too scared. That
I'm exactly the same.
One thing that I cut, some reason that one that's all poison, and I get sick and get hospital. You know, that would not be good. Thank you, Zen. All right, moving on. You don't want to keep too late. Saltwater.
Oh, the mantis shrimp. So, where's he on my list?
Why? He's beautiful.
Yeah, he's gorgeous. I love the mantis shrimp. I showed a photo to my partner before, and he nearly had a heart attack. He said it looked like a demon, but a cool demon.
I get it. I get it.
It's just something about the eyes, but it's something about the eyes that is really cool as well. So yeah, I absolutely love the mantis shrimp. They're a really interesting shrimp. They're not actually a shrimp. They're a kind of crustacean, but they just get called a shrimp just because of the way that they look. But they're really interesting because they can punch faster than the speed of sound. So they can generate heat with their punch, and they can punch as fast as a 22 caliber bullet. So it is recommended, if you're going to keep these guys, to keep them in an acrylic tank, not a glass, because they can punch out of it if they want to. But yeah, really. And yeah, they are called thumb crackers as well, because if you get your hand too close, they are able to fracture your hand if you do put your hand in front of one.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What size aquarium?
Sorry, what was that?
What size aquarium?
Size aquarium for these guys, you probably want like a 4 foot plus. They're not too picky, like, because they generally hide in live rock and in rock crevices. So as long as they've got their live rock in there, you don't want to go too small. I wouldn't go smaller than a 3 foot. So 3 foot to 4 foot, but bigger is always better with everything on this list. As big as you can go is the best. But yeah, minimum of a 3 foot. But yeah, they're really cool. But yeah, I just find it so interesting. They can punch faster than the speed of light and generate heat while they punch. Like, that's just insane to me that a fish, especially underwater, fighting water resistance, can do that. It's just crazy.
Right. So, in other words, you couldn't keep them with anything, can you?
You can keep them with other larger fish, but like extremely larger, like probably talking about, well, I can't even think of a large freshwater fish. I mean, saltwater fish off the top of my head.
How about like tangs or angels?
They're probably too small. Anything larger than a large tang or angel, because they're probably still going to go missing. While they're juveniles, the mantis shrimp, you're probably not going to have any issues, but as they get larger, they can get up to 40 centimeters, so they do get quite large. And yeah, their natural like food is anything that swims fast, so just reach out and knock it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything that eats these guys?
Not really in the aquarium hobby. Obviously, in the wild, there's sharks and bigger things like that, and big moray eagles that will eat them. But in the aquarium hobby, there's not too much that predates on them, unless you have a monster like shark tank or big eel tank or something like that. Yeah, they're so cool.
That is cool. What's the main diet?
Main diet for these guys is crustaceans, so they'll smash open clams, mussels, eat smaller fish, any sort of limpets, crustaceans, sometimes starfish, not a major part of their diet, but any sort of crustacean or invert that they can get their hands on.
Hey, welcome in, Anthony. How you doing? Now that's interesting, pal. I know we're back up a little bit, but I do want to bring it up. You never caught fish in Louisiana? What, pal? Is Louisiana banned from that? Maybe that could be. I don't know. I haven't either. I only done in Texas and Florida, so I don't know. And can you keep any corals with these guys?
Yeah, so these guys are reef safe. They're not going to eat any corals or attack any of your corals. If anything, they do create like their homes in little burrows and tunnels. Sorry, the dog's screaming at me. Coda, wait a second. They do dig like in the sand structures to create their own little tunnels, and in these tunnels, once they like don't inhabit them anymore, little crustaceans and shrimp move in and start inhabiting them. So the only thing to consider with these guys is if you do have like rock structures or any live rock or corals on the sand, to make sure that they're fully like situated on the sand. So if they do happen to dig under, they're not going to crush themselves or break your glass.
Right.
But yeah, they are reef safe.
And where are these things located at? Everywhere?
Yeah, so they're mainly found in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, these guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that it's cool and all, but I don't see myself keeping one of those yet in the future.
Yeah, that's definitely a one-day thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm changing the topic a little bit. Let's see. There. Now those are the pond babies. These are koi fish. Now, of course, they're bred all over the world, but they originate from Japan, y'all.
Oh, Coda, stop. I might let the dog out. Hang on, give me a sec.
Fair enough. Anyways, if you don't realize, I do have a koi pond outside. Now, like I said, these are like your babies out there, literally. These guys, you can hand feed them. And the only problem, y'all, koi can get up to 4 feet or bigger. They're not something that you put in a small aquarium or pond. I usually tell everybody, if you want a koi fish, at least have a 1,000-gallon pond, at least, for one. So, now,
illegal over here.
What?
Another one that's illegal over here.
What? Y'all can have koi fish?
Nah, kois are illegal over here because of the invasive restrictions for them if they get into our waterways. Same with everything else. They just cause absolute chaos. We do have a few carp that are over here, but the requirements for them is if you ever catch one in the wild, you got to leave it on a riverbank. You're not even allowed to bring it home and keep it in an aquarium.
Right. So carp, goldfish, koi, is all illegal.
We're allowed goldfish, but carp and koi we're not allowed. They're illegal here. I think Western Australia, which is down the very bottom in the corner, I think they're the only state that you're allowed them, but you have to have a permit, I believe. But where I am in Queensland, they're illegal.
But you realize the goldfish are koi or carp?
Yep. Yeah, all the same family. I think it's because of the size of them. Like goldfish are another serious issue here. You're not allowed to release anything, obviously. But people have goldfish. And it's the same with these guys. It's just, I guess I don't know what the word would be, but the repercussions of both of them. Goldfish are not as bad, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, whereas koi are a lot larger. They have larger mouths. They're going to eat a lot more. They're going to disturb a lot more of like sediment in the sandbanks and stir all that up and ruin natural vegetation. Whereas goldfish, they do all that, just not on as big of a scale because they're not as big.
Right. Now I don't know over there, but here the classic comet goldfish, they'll get up to 2 feet or bigger.
Yeah, ours do too as well over here. But a lot of people, another one of those fish which people try and put in a 20 liter, which I think is like a 5 gallon over there. I don't know conversion off the top of my head, but yeah, it never worked. And that's how I got into the industry actually. I had a 25 liter. We got 3 goldfish, put them in there. Obviously, when you buy fish at the store, they're tiny. So like heaps of room for them. Did some research, realized, oh, we stuffed up here, upgraded them to their proper tank, and then I had a 25 liter sitting there. So I was like, better. And then that's when multiple tank syndrome started. It was just tank after tank after that. Do you want to come say hello? Say hello.
Oh, yeah. Actually, growing up, we used to have huskies growing up. We used to breed them.
Yeah, he's such an asshole, but we love him. He's a rescue. My partner got him off the side of the road in New Zealand and then brought him over here when they moved. And yeah, I got brought into the family and now I'm stuck with him.
Right. The only thing that I hated about him, they would howl at the moon.
Oh yeah, see, he doesn't do that. I don't know whether it's because of a rescue. Like he doesn't have all the traits of the husky. Like he's not very talkative. It's just when he wants something. Like before, he wanted me to let him out, so he let me know about it. But he doesn't just kind of go off for nothing. There's a reason why he screams at you.
Right. Yeah. So, but we had a kennel, a dog. People call it a dog heaven, and we had like 30 different breeds at the time. Anyways, we had probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 feet from the house. That helped, but midnight.
My partner really wants to get multiple, and I feel like if we did, that would happen because they'd all set each other off. So I don't want multiple ones. I like my Staffies and my Great Danes. I want Staffies and Great Danes.
God, look up Mustang Koi in Australia.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
You know what? I know we don't have much time, but I'm gonna look it up anyways. Mustang Koi.
My Google just brought up actual Mustangs. I saw a comment before as well with how thick the acrylic needs to be for a mantis shrimp and at least 10 mil thickness for the acrylic so they won't smash through it.
You know what? There we go. We'll do this. Shall we? Thank you, Sweet Acres Koi Farm. And Sweet Acres, you're over in UK, right? I think so. Welcome in, by the way. I put a link to that channel in the chat, y'all. Hey, pal, I'm sorry. Some reason, why do I think you're in Louisiana? Oh, you're probably close to it. You're southwest of Fort Worth. I went into Louisiana a couple of times. Cool. Comet goldfish were given away as carnival prizes when I was a kid. They were advertised as bowl pets who wouldn't grow any bigger than a bowl. That's the myth, y'all. Wow.
That's still nowadays, unfortunately, and the good old myth of they'll only grow as big as their aquarium. Well, that one annoys me.
Yeah. But actually, there's a truth to that, though. Some truth.
Yeah, they will only grow to the size of the aquarium outside, but you cannot stop their internal organs growing, so they're going to keep growing. It's much like Harry Potter under the staircase, like living there. It's the difference between surviving and thriving, and I think we should make sure that all the animals in our care are thriving, not surviving.
I agree 100%. And which the result, the side effect, leads to early death.
Yes.
Cool. Have you seen Craig's Great Danes? I have. Craig, actually, Craig is in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Does someone know what? Hey, Craig, are you here this evening? Craig, you here? He might wake up. Pop in. Craig is also in Australia, and he has a channel.
Yeah.
Are you following him?
I don't follow a lot of people, honestly. I have
Oh.
not had time to go through and like find people in the community. I only really follow like the really big people that I've been following since I started like in the industry. So I got to pull my finger out of my butt and actually find some new accounts. So I will be going onto that page that you recommended before and finding some people.
Nice. Hey, moderators, you want putting Craig's channel in the chat? Hey, sweetie, because I'm sorry. Oh, I know. Why did I think you were in the UK? Or was it Adam? Maybe it's Adam I'm thinking of. In the UK. That keeps Corey. You're in Illinois. Close enough. Sorry, bro. That was not my intention. Welcome in. Okay, moving on. Let me see. Now, hey, Alex, if you're here in the chat, this is for you.
Oh, yes, the bitches.
And Bichos?
Yeah, I'm sure I was actually watching a video about these guys the other day, and yeah, I think I said bitches or something, and they're like, oh my God, you pronounced it right. And I was like, well, I don't pronounce these right. But yeah, so we split over here, but I guess that's another one of those contrasting differences. First one was a Senegal bicher. This guy is an ornate. Yeah, that guy's a Senegal. The other one is an ornate. This is an ornate. I actually probably prefer the ornates more just because of their really contrasted pattern and the yellowing they get on their fins. They're really cool. Whereas Senegals, they kind of look like dragons, which is why I like them. They're just like your basic grayscale dragon sort of type. Right. Ornates, a bit more color to them. And then there is also, oh, mind blank. What is the other one? Senegal, ornate, platinum, possibly? Oh no, I'm having a mind blank. We're talking about too many fish. I've got too much going on in my head. Yeah. These guys really interestingly coming from the Nile River in Africa, which I would not have guessed. So they're the only fish on my list, I believe, that come from Africa. And they're nocturnal animals, so they hide during the day for most of the time. If you put in a lot of food, they may smell the food and come out and have a bit of a feed during the day, but they'll mainly only come out at nighttime. And there are 11 species that are being categorized, all from Africa, but there's only 3 main ones that we can get here in Australia, which is the ornate, Senegal, and that other one that I just cannot remember off the top of my head right now. They do require at least a 90-gallon aquarium. Bigger is always better, especially with these guys because they are quite long. They don't necessarily swim too much, so they don't need a lot of head height. It's more of a 90-gallon long than a 90-gallon tall. But yeah, they're really cool fish, and they are carnivorous as well. So they'll eat any sort of meat and protein. So chuck in mussels, shrimp, smaller fish that they can fit in their mouth, anything like that, anything meaty they will eat, which is really cool. I actually realized that a lot of fish are carnivores as well. So it turns out I like South American carnivore predator fish.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's good. I'm actually surprised that Alex in the chat now, Fathom Aquatics. He actually keeps these guys. He has the Senegals and the Ornets. And he has others too, but yeah.
Yeah, they're so cool. I love how they use their fins to kind of just prop themselves up on things along the tank. And they're just like, right. I don't know. I think I have a fascination with dragons as well. And they just look like mini dragons, which is really cool.
So there's a link to Craig's channel.
Awesome. I'll be checking
and by the way, Jim Aquatics, there he is. I told you. I'm going to call him out. Sure enough. Craig Catfish, welcome in. Yeah, we were just talking about you, Craig. We're trying to think, where are you at versus Jim Aquatics? Y'all both in Australia.
I'm in Queensland. Good old Cabo for anyone that knows where that is. It's not a very nice place. Yeah, biches are really cool. They've been another one on my list for a while. And my friend, he breeds biches and stingrays, so I don't know a huge amount of information about them, but my friend, he knows a lot about them, so I always go to him with any questions about these guys that I have, and he is the plethora of knowledge on stingrays and biches. Bitches, or however you say them.
Right. Bichos, bikers. There's like 3 or 4 different ways I heard here in America how they call them.
Tomato.
Yeah. Right. All right. Next bucket list fish. Now this is my bucket list fish. It was. I actually have them now. So what I'm saying, I'm about done with my bucket list, y'all. That's what I'm basically saying. There's only like one or two out there I haven't had yet. What am I doing with my life if I already have my bucket list fish? Am I that much older or that much advanced, or what happened?
You just know what you want in life and you've gone after it. Whereas I'm unfortunately stuck with in-laws that have told me no more fish.
True. Fair enough. Fair enough. Could you tell me what kind of fish is this?
I honestly have no idea. I know it's a cichlid.
True.
I'm very bad with cichlids, like the Africans. I've got no clue. I specialize, like I said before, the South Americans, Amazon sort of things, and Indonesian, like freshwater tropical sort of things. So yeah, the Africans is something that I don't know too much about. I know the very basics, and that's about it.
Those blue eyes. That is one thing that it does draw me to them, to these guys. Now this is here. Before I say it wrong, I'm gonna try to say the Latin name. Now don't laugh too much, y'all. Neolampolagus martifasciatus. They're a shore dweller from Lake Tanganyika in Africa. They're the smallest cichlid in the world. The male would get is the bigger of the two. He'll get like 2 inches. The female is smaller than that, and they do, as the name says, the shore dwellers. They live in shells, and it's encouraged to have 6 or more of these together in a tank. Six. No, you can go with a pair, but I would encourage you to go a little bit more. And you can keep these guys in a 20-gallon long, and they'll be just fine. Now I got my colony in a 40 breeder, and like some other fish I have, they're like rabbits. They breed and breed and breed and breed until the tank's full. I go in there, pull out about two dozen of them, trade them in or sell them or give them away, and look back and they totally repopulate the tank. Say, come on, back off. So now the reason that they're popular, you can keep them in a small tank. And if you want to watch the action, they're always redecorating the tank. They're digging a lot. I keep like sand or veganite, crushed coal in the tank for them. So yeah, and they're cichlid, African cichlid. So you can keep them in harder water, and they'll thrive. They actually thrive more in harder water than in soft. Yeah. My one buddy over there in Houston, Mike Sinsky, he actually has an aquarium set up of Lake Tanganigans. Now, when I was over there last year, he didn't have any of the like Frutosa in there, but he had the Tropheus, which is another bucket list fish, but I not add to the list. The Shelleys, you get a whole pile of variety of Shelleys out there. That's my favorite. Then the Bichardi was no cichlid in the same lake. He turned it into a Lake Tanganyika cichlid tank, which is really cool setup. Was it? But if you haven't followed Mike Sinsky or what's his name on Instagram, Andrew Sinsky, I think. Hold on. We text all the time. I don't think of his name. I think it's Andrew. Andrew M. Sinsky is what he goes by on Instagram. And he's actually the owner, him and his brother, the owners of Aquarium Design Group. If you have not heard of Aquarium Design Group, my opinion, it's the best fish store in America. The best. You walk in the front door, it's a gallery, literally. There's probably, I don't know, 40 tanks set up in the fish from the store. And they're all like world champion aquascapes, each one of them. From freshwater to saltwater. Anything you think of that in the hobby is in there. It's phenomenal. Then of course in the back is where you can buy the fish food, fish, plants, everything you want, But yeah.
Sounds like a bucket list store. I'll have to add to my bucket list.
Yeah. If you hey, actually, you know what, Katie? I wouldn't be surprised if Katie did not visit the store. I wouldn't be surprised because she would go without going to her routes. She was over that area, so there's a good chance she would have stopped and picked it out because that's the well-renowned store.
Have to keep an eye on her channel and have a chat to her when I see her next, see where she went.
Yeah. Okay. We're running out of fish. Now, here's the fish that we haven't talked about. I wish I could have them. You wish you could have them, but neither one of us can have them.
Snakehead. They are stunning.
And what size aquarium would you need for something like this?
These guys, again, so because I've got a list of 7 illegal fish on here, and I haven't really looked too much into the tank requirements for them just because I can't have them. So I don't want to get into my head and start planning because otherwise I will get really upset because I have my heart set on them. So I haven't looked into it too much, but they are really large fish. They get up to, I believe, 60 to 90 centimeters, so ridiculously big. So I wouldn't go anything smaller than a 6 foot for these guys.
Right.
So, quite a large one. And I, again, haven't done too much research, but I'd say it would be a species-only tank unless you get like a stupidly big tank and put in like an arapaima or something bigger in with it where it's not going to get eaten. So only these large, monstrous fish.
And where do they come from in the wild?
These guys are from China to Southeast Russia, so they've got quite a large distribution on them, but again, different to the areas where a lot of my other fish come from. So yeah, China and Southeast Russia, these guys.
Right. Do you have any of these in your local waters?
Sorry, a big fish just jumped behind and splashed water all over the ground. No, we don't have any of these guys around, thankfully. Again, with our biorestriction laws, none have been able to get in, so we haven't had any released. But yeah, that's why we can't get them, because people will eventually release them and they'll get into our waterways, but they're not around here at the moment. Touch wood, and hopefully they never will be.
Because we have some of these in America in the wild, and yeah, they're mess the system up. They're horrible.
Yeah, I think when I was doing some research, I saw that someone released a pair into a lake in Mississippi or something, and they ended up draining the lake to try and eradicate them. But by the time they'd done that, they'd already bred, and there was over like 1,000 babies in there, and they'd already spread. So,
yeah,
I was. Yeah, it sounds like they're starting to become a problem over there for you because a few people have let them go.
Next fish.
Cool, arapaimas. Yes.
So another a small 9 aquarium fish.
Yeah, I reckon you could get that in maybe a 1 gallon, 1.5 gallon. No, I'm just joking.
Right.
So the arapaimas, they're one of the biggest fish species that I know in existence in freshwater. They can get the size of several small humans. I think there's a photo that we have in there, and there's like 6 grown adult males holding it. Right, that one there. They're ridiculously big. I've even seen some videos of people like trying to hand feed them, and they come up and will like knock them out and like break ribs and break bones. Like the force that comes out of them is crazy. But these guys come from South America, and they're mainly around the floodplains in the Amazon basin. They are found in parts of Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Guyana, and Peru. So they do have quite a large range on them, but nothing over here. And yeah, they get ridiculously big, which is the main appeal behind them for me. I just really think it would be insane to have a fish that is like triple the size of you.
Yes. And what size pond would you
I was going to say, probably not an aquarium for these guys unless you a good custom builder and can build you a massive aquarium. But yeah, pond for these guys, I wouldn't be going anything smaller than like a 30,000, like stupidly big. Basically a mini Olympic swimming pool.
Yeah.
Obviously, while they're smaller, you can probably get away with a smaller size tank, but full grown, that's going to be a big commitment and a big tank. And this guy in the photo as well isn't even fully grown. They get bigger than that as well.
Yes.
Yes, and tight lids, they jump. They are very good jumpers.
And what is it? What's this?
This guy is an alligator gar, so another one on the illegal list that we're not allowed over here because of their threat if they get into our natural ecosystems, because they are really resilient, these guys. They are found in freshwater, brackish, and salt water. So in whatever environment they are chucked in, they are most likely going to adapt to it and survive. And because of the size of them and their diet, they are they become an apex predator. So there's not too many things that pick on them and eat them. So they end up just taking over and going crazy. But natively, these guys are found in North and Central America. And yeah, it's a really cool looking fish.
Yeah. We actually have them here in America. And yeah, they are a nightmare. They're invasive. They totally destroy the ecosystem, y'all. So, hey, see, Australia has a lot over America, a lot. And we probably need to do more of that. Stop all this invasive stuff, you know? That's just my opinion.
Strict biosecurity laws over here because of the invasive species. I guess our government, I'd like to say they care for our natural fauna and flora, but I think it's more of the money side of things. Obviously, Great Barrier Reef and a lot of we're one of the most diverse countries with like the most amount of species in one area and most amount of ecosystems in one area. So our government does try to protect that because it brings in a lot of income through tourism. I'd like to say it's because we are one of these rare natural gems in the world where we do have an amazing amount of diversity in our species. But yeah, unfortunately, sadly, it's more towards to do with the money. The government just wants to protect the money, attribute to it, and not actually the animals. But it is good that it is there. But it is also annoying for very passionate hobbyists like me who will do the right thing because we can't get our hands on them no matter what. But I understand what the laws are there.
Did you hear that? She said that she's a natural gem.
Our country. Oh,
okay. And now, is this a piranha?
Yeah, so red belly piranha, another illegal one over here. We can get silver dollars, which is the closest thing over here. You can get the striped, spotted, and normal silver dollars, and they're kind of the opposite of a piranha in the aspect that they will eat anything green, whereas piranhas obviously will eat anything meaty. So same family, similar looks, just totally different diets and personalities.
Aren't they cousins to tetras?
Which one, the piranhas or pacus?
Are they all his cousins? They're not related?
I don't believe so. The pacu and the piranha are, they're in the same family. So that guy's a red-bellied piranha, whereas the other guy's a pacu, which gets a lot larger. But yeah, so they are similar.
I thought they were. Hold on. Now, I'm going to look at it now.
Fact check.
Yeah. Hey, Google. Check it out for us. Come on.
Yes, Craig, another Aussie is here. I'm taking over the channel. Get some Australia into you.
So, piranha and pacu, the same family? I mean, are they totally different aggressive?
I believe they're the same family. So the piranhas are from the Amazon basin, whereas pacus are originally from subtropical South America, but now they're found throughout USA, Europe, and Asia because they've been released. So that looks natively that they're not from the same areas, but they look very similar in their body type. So I'd say they're related somehow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. According to Google, pacus, piranhas, and tetras all from the same family.
Well, even tetras. There you go.
Yeah. Which
you do look at tetra face. If I look at my albino black neons behind me, they do actually kind of have a piranha face. Yeah, I can see
that. Buenos Aires tetras.
Yes.
If you watch them eat, they eat the same way as piranhas do. It's kind of weird. Yes.
We should do maybe. I might have to get some just to have a look and see how that goes. I don't know that. That's interesting. There you go. Learn something new.
Yeah. All right. We're running out.
Or the rope fish. I love these guys. Again, related to the bicho family. I think that's why I like them. Again, another little dragon, just longer. So these guys are really cool. But again, another one that we can't have here. They are found in, again, just with our biosecurity laws, they're just not on the list. So we're not allowed to have them. If they get into our rivers and get released, then they just become invasive. And our government just said no, unfortunately, like a lot of things.
Yeah.
We're very, very cool. Yeah, we're very, very limited on what we can get. Definitely in the aquarium industry, we can import more. Like as I was saying before, I'm into the reptile and amphibian industry, and that is full stop, natives only, not allowed anything else, no exceptions unless you're a zoo. So we can only have native reptiles and amphibians. So we can't get any of the cool exotic stuff. So in that world, I want every single thing that you guys can get in America because we can't have it here. So that bucket list would go on for about 3 days. But yeah, our biosecurity laws are just really strict, so we're not allowed a lot of stuff over here. But yeah,
I've actually had 3 of these a couple years ago, but you gotta have tight, very, very, very tight legs, y'all.
yes, yeah, good escape artists, these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to an eel. Same with the eels. Got to have good lids for them. Even like a millimeter gap on the side, they will figure out how to get out of it. If you think you have sealed it all, think again.
Yes, talking about eels, you got a good choice.
Yes, the snowflake eel. These guys are really cool. We just recently came back from Bali and I got to see these guys on the reef in the wild, and that was one of the highlights for my trip. It was so cool to see them.
No way.
Yeah, it was so cool to see them in their natural habitat, just swimming in between the reef with all the different fish and corals and everything. It was insane. I was like fangirling about it for 3 days. I was like, I saw a snowflake eel. I was so excited.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I think you posted about it, I think, on Instagram, didn't you?
Yeah, I did put a little bit on my story. I was trying to be offline, but I was fangirling so much. I had to share it with everyone. I was like, I just saw a snowflake eel. It was so cool.
She was offline, but you could hear in her voice that she wasn't.
No, it was meant to be. And I was even going to take an underwater camera with me to film it, but I was like, no, because it was a trip for my birthday. So it was just me and my partner. I was like, no, I won't make this business. I'll just enjoy it. But I'm definitely going back for a business trip and taking a camera and vlogging some of the stuff over there because it was just insane what we saw. It was incredible. But anyway, back to the eel.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah, so the snowflake eel, he's from the Indo-Pacific reefs from Hawaii southwards all the way to Australia. So we do find them here in Australia, and then westward back through the islands of the Indo-Pacific and the East Indies. So they're found pretty much across the whole Indian Ocean to the coast of Africa. So very large distribution on these guys. They can get to 60 centimeters in length, and ideally you want 190 liter to a 50 gallon for these guys. And I think the parents just. Hello.
And are they aggressive?
In the sense of eels, like it's eel aggressive. So obviously any smaller fish or crustaceans they will predate on. So you don't want to be combining them, but anything larger than them, like a big tang or anything, they're not going to go for them. So that'd be okay.
Okay. Yeah, I see them a lot in fish store saltwater aquariums, but I haven't seen any really in anybody's home. Why is that?
I just think because, especially here, the price of them, they are really expensive.
Okay.
And obviously being an eel, they can be quite temperamental. So just got to be careful about what things you combine them with. Sorry, my partner's just walked in as being an idiot.
Welcome home, bro.
So yeah, I think it's just really the price of them. And here in Australia, you don't see them too often. Like I had never heard about them before working in the aquarium industry. It wasn't until I worked at a wholesaler that imported all their fish that I saw one for the first time and realized what they were. So I just think it's kind of the rarity over here as well. It's not something that's just in a generic fish store. It's kind of more of one of those specialty breeds. But yeah, a really cool eel nonetheless. Really cool patternings on it as well compared to just a normal, I won't say boring, but a normal moray eel. That's kind of just your plain colors.
Cool.
And the lionfish. These guys, I don't know what my fascination with these guys is. I've just always been obsessed with them. They're a really cool looking fish. And I think it's because I always grew up watching like the poisonous, venomous shows on like the ABC and that sort of thing. So it was a fish that always popped up and we were always learning about it. But these guys, they're found pretty much worldwide now in warm tropic waters. They have become a pest species, especially in the Caribbean. They're now starting to do cull programs to get rid of them because they're such an issue. But over here in Australia, we don't have too much of an issue with them. Because it's from their natural habitat. There are natural predators that get rid of them, whereas in the Caribbean, these predators don't exist. So they've just absolutely blown in population and just taken control. But yeah, these guys, they reach up to 38 centimeters in length, require a 250 liter tank, and are carnivores. So they will need carnivorous food, so small fish, crustaceans, mussels, stuff like that. And they won't eat like algae or veggies or anything like that.
And what kind of power of poison do they have?
So these guys, all their spines on them, they do have venomous spines. It's enough to make you feel mildly ill. There haven't been any cases of death from a lionfish. You just feel like absolute shit. So definitely not recommended to grab one or stand on one, but it shouldn't be the end of the world as long as you seek medical care afterwards.
And can you eat? Are these edible or?
Not too sure. I don't know whether it'd be similar to the pufferfish because they're venomous. They're venomous. Yeah, I'm not too sure. You have to double check that.
Yeah. Cool. We got a beautiful fish that I didn't think about it until you put it on your list. That's a pretty good choice. I never even thought about it.
Oh, yes, the mandarin goby. Yes, this guy is probably what really wanted me to get into the saltwater because, again, I love rainbow, shiny, sparkly things, and it's a rainbow, shiny, sparkly fish, so totally up my alley. But yeah, these guys are really cool. So they're found here native in Australia, which is another cool thing about them, and also up to the Ryukyu Islands, which is in the Japan sort of area distribution. The only downside to these guys is in captivity, they only survive to 2 to 4 years old because of their dietary requirements. In the wild, they can live for 10 to 15 years, but we just haven't been able to replicate that in an aquarium setting because they are quite finicky eaters. They will only eat ceopods, amphipods, or your really tiny live microorganisms. They don't do well to produce live food. Can you turn that off, Josh? They don't do very well with cultured food, so you do have to try and get live. Once you get them eating, they generally do okay, but it is really hard to get these guys to eat.
Right. Yeah, I actually had one of these a couple years ago. It wasn't eating flakes there at the end, but the one day I got home, it was gone. To this day, I still don't know what happened to it. Either something else in the tank got to it, I don't know. But, very beautiful.
They are stunning.
So if you're thinking about getting one, y'all, make sure you do research. Make sure you know what you're getting into. These are very finicky eaters.
A very established tank with established live rock, so there's enough natural food in there for them.
Yes. Okay. Oh, we're on that side about that, y'all. Okay. One of my fish, my bucket list. Why have a bucket list fish already got?
Beautiful coral beauty.
I'm actually trying to downsize my saltwater tank, y'all. For those who wondered. Right now, my saltwater tank is a 45-gallon tank, both ones. And I'm trying to downsize it to a 20-gallon long.
Downsize. What is this word?
I'm going against the normal idea of the hobby. You always bigger is better, right? But like I said, I'm trying to downsize my fish room. I need to downsize a little more. That way I'm able to everything in here is thriving and not just living. You know what I'm saying? Basically, where this tank is at, that spot needs to be empty, in my opinion. But anyhow, the coral beauty can be found in Indo-Pacific Ocean. At least need a 20 long as a minimum size. Now, if you have a clown pair in there and a coral beauty with a live rock, you'll be fine. But like you said, bigger is always better. That way you don't have your perimeter swinging so much. And they're just a beautiful fish. Now, they are reef safe to a certain point. Some of them will actually eat some coral or tear it apart, so be careful with that. And just like the picture shows, a very beautiful purple, which if you haven't realized it yet, my favorite color is lavender. So it goes right in there. Okay. We got one more fish yet, right?
Let's check. Done that. I think so, yeah. Oh, and one of the wild bedders that we haven't spoken about, but this is the last illegal one.
Okay.
So yeah, we have the red Asian arowana, as the name implied. They are found throughout Southeast Asia. They do double cross a couple of their distributions with a couple of different areas, but mainly Asia is where they're found. Again, another illegal one that we're not allowed over here. We are allowed Saratogas, which are native to Australia. I think I did include a photo of that, but I'm not too sure where that went. But yeah, so we're allowed Saratogas here, not arowanas. Very, very similar. The arowanas definitely look a lot nicer and have that nice red coloring to them, whereas the Saratogas don't. Sorry, there's people walking in front of me. I'm getting distracted.
You're good. Good.
But yeah, so Southeast Asia, these guys, not allowed them over here, but another really cool fish, another large predator fish that stays at the top of the aquarium, and you need really, really secure lids for these guys as well because they are terrific jumpers.
Yeah. So in the wild, do they do a lot of jumping to get the food?
Yeah, so these guys are very similar to archerfish, so they can jump out of the water onto leaves and hanging low branches that are sitting above the water, and that's why their eyes are situated on the top of their head, because they often look at the branches over the hanging the water to see if there's any small prey items on that which they can jump up and get. So yeah, it's mainly their main source of food, little frogs and amphibians and stuff that are living above the water where they are.
Yeah, this is one fish that you and me both agree on. That's very beautiful, and it'd be awesome to have it in an aquarium. But I don't see anyone anytime in the future that I'll have one just because they're not allowed.
Yeah, Saratogas are really cool, and yeah, again, the closest that we can get, but definitely nothing compares to the color comparison of the two. The Saratogas are kind of like a silver washed out sort of look, so visually wise they look the same, like body structure wise, so they're both very cool top dwelling large fish, but color wise the Asian arowanas are very cool, much cooler.
All right. Did I get all the fish? Let me see. Hold on, y'all.
There is just one betta. So one of the wild species of bettas, again, it's Latin, so I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it's the Betta macachendisis. That's completely wrong. That's not even right. But they are the black one with like the little blue iridescent spots all over them. It's where the wild species that the alien betta came from, which we've now bred in the industry and now domesticated. So that's where your alien bettas come from, this wild species. And they're a really cool one because they're found on the coast of Thailand. So because they're on the coast, they're found in more alkaline waters, and they can actually be found in brackish water, which is really interesting for a betta, which is mainly freshwater and acidic. These guys are on the opposite end and are brackish and alkaline. So they prefer a pH of 7.8 to 7 to 8.5. So definitely on the higher end, which is again really interesting for a betta. Still a labyrinth organ fish. Yes, that guy. Oh no, that's the embellus. That's an embellus. That's different again.
Oh, some reason that it didn't add to my list. That's weird.
I will send it through again.
Okay.
Because yeah, there's a couple of wilds that look very, very similar to each other.
And the iguana you talking about earlier.
Yeah, so yeah, he's the Saratoga. So they're the ones that we legally can have here in Australia. So they look very similar. Oh, that might have been the one that you just showed.
Yeah, that's the same one.
That one.
Yeah, you're good.
So yeah, those guys are found in brackish water, which is just absolutely mind-blowing to me because bettas, as I was saying before, Thailand, very acidic water, lots of leaf litter in their water. But then these guys are the total opposite. They like really hard water and brackish, which is really cool. But mouth breeders, these guys, and because these are the strain that we've got our alien bettas off, these are a lot more aggressive, and they are one fish per tank like the betta splendids. So you can't keep these guys in a community tank. Treat these guys as you would a betta splendid if you do go to get one.
Cool. And how do they compare to the? You heard of the Api betta?
Probably. We've been talking about way too much stuff today. My brain is not comprehending anything. But I
Her brain is fried by now, y'all. So if you have any questions for her, don't ask them because she's not gonna know that. But there is a question for you in the chat, though, Emily.
Oh yeah, I was just getting those. I was looking at those guys beforehand. Yeah, they're like the cherry bettas. I was doing a bit of research on them earlier.
Yeah.
How many tanks do I have, and which is my most expensive? A lot of tanks. If we're talking about just aquariums, I do also have a lizard in there, but we won't count him. So we've got the South American cichlid tank, well, 2 South Americans. This is angels behind me with some Aliotes and some Geos and Cories and Tetras. This guy is the Amazon discus with some more different kinds of Tetras, some catfish. And then we've got the betta tank on the ground over there, the turtle tank up there. And then out in the shed, there is the breeding rack with 10 tanks on it. Then there's the snail breeding tank, the shrimp breeding tank, and the plant grow out tank, and 5 more plant grow out tubs around the side. And I think that is it at the moment. But the most expensive would be this recent one that I've just done behind me here, the Angel biotope. That I don't even want to think about how much money and time that I've spent on that.
Ooh.
Definitely over 3,000, and that's as much as I will say.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if we can get a better picture of that tank.
It looks really cloudy on here for some reason, and I don't know why. But this is the tank. But yeah, I've already aquascaped it 5 times now, I think, because it was originally a sand bed in the middle here and sand going up the front and the sides.
Right.
Whereas now that the cories and the geos are in there, they have just mixed everything up and it's now all aqua soil. So there was 4 or 5 different aquascapes that I tried to do where I tried to put more rocks on the side beds to try and stop the aqua soil falling down. There was a couple of times where I tried to put egg crate with some mesh on it to try and act as a barrier. But everything that I did just failed. So now I've kind of just accepted its fate and it can stay a mixed aqua soil tank rather than stand in the middle. But yeah,
you want to hear my opinion?
Yeah.
That tank is phenomenal. I love it.
Thank you.
Especially with the those redhead topios.
No, so we have got Aleotes are the main. There's 3 Aleotes, and then that guy is a Geophagus semirensis.
Okay, Theo. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a couple. Mainly the angels. Well, obviously the angels have always been in here, and then they've been upgraded. So the angels were the main focus, and then everything else is kind of just done around them. We've got some marble lonkin bristle noses, some chain loaches, silvertip tetras, copus blues, Siamese algae eaters, ferrofowlers, royal whiptails, normal bristle noses, and the ghost knife, I believe, is the last thing.
So which is the most fish that's the most expensive?
Most expensive. In this one, it's really the skate that's the most expensive. The angel, that blue angel, is probably the most expensive, and he was $16, $17, I think. This is pretty much a rescue tank. So the ghost knife I rescued from a client, all the geos and the Aleotes and the copus blues I rescued from another client, the bristle noses I rescued, Siamese algae eaters I rescued, the blind cory that's in here, she's a rescue, chain loaches, they're a rescue. Yeah, pretty much everything that is in there is a rescue. I didn't really buy much that's in here. It's mainly a couple of the angels. Actually, no, that Bulgarian angel would be the most expensive because I bought him. I think he was $40.
Okay, yeah.
That would be the most expensive.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in the grand scheme of expensives, he's not that expensive, but out of that tank, he would be the most expensive. But yeah, actually setting up this tank was the most expensive because it's a custom tank. And then I bought all the aquascaping stuff. There's probably 8 or 9 bags of aqua soil in there and then 7 sand. So that was the main chunk of cost. And then it's running on a sump system as well. So obviously buying everything for that and decking that out. So the actual setup was a lot. The fish themselves, I already had the angel fish and then all the other fish I've rescued. So that wasn't too much.
So the moral of the story is, y'all, who's watching, become a rescuer.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was good as well working in the pet shop because I had this tank planned for probably a year and a half. A year and a half before I actually had it set up. So I knew what I wanted. I had the design for it, and the aquarium shop that I was working at, they shut down and moved to a larger aquarium store. So they didn't want to take any of their sand or substrates with them. So slowly over the years, I stocked up on things for free where I could get them here and there. So that made it a little bit cheaper. So yeah, definitely cheaper than it could have been, but still definitely a lot more expensive than I wanted to spend.
Right. Hey, Stephen White, I agree with you 100%. All of our rescues are awesome. I agree, right?
Thank you.
Fathom, you're late. Hey, Fathom, by the way, you just got home. You're good. Hey, by the way, Fathom, earlier we were talking about a bucket list fish, and we're talking about bikers, by the way. If you want, so I guess you watch replay, bro. You see her. It's all good.
You have to tell me what the third one that I was missing is. But this is my favorite rescue over here.
I want to see this.
Splish. Wait. He's digging against a wall. Wait.
What is it?
A turtle. Yeah, he's too busy staring at a wall.
Which one?
So this guy, he is a crest river turtle. So again, we're not allowed any reptiles that aren't non-native. So he is a native Australian turtle. But yeah, he's a little crest river turtle. We've had him since he was a little baby with an umbilical cord, but he's been at my parents' for the last 13 years. I only just got him this year and upgraded him to this tank because unfortunately he was stuck in a tiny 3 foot by 1 foot, no UVB, no heat, no dry dock. So I rescued him this year, and now he's got his big dry dock with UVB and heat, and his tank's quite boring at the moment because he's gone through and eaten all the plants. But when he does decide that he wants to have plants, he does leave them for a little bit. But this is Smush.
That's so cool.
So yeah, here's my favorite rescue. Hey, buddy. So yeah, we bring him out and take him for walks with the lizard, and he goes outside and gets snapped and stuff. So.
Hey, Fathom. Yeah, right. I should get some bikers. They sound like cool fish. Hey, Fathom, how many do you have, by the way? He has a lot of bikers, by the way.
Yeah.
There's your answer. He can identify any biker if she has one.
I'll remember it as soon as we finish this, and I get so pissed off because I know Platinum is one, but I don't believe Platinum is the one that I'm thinking of. It was Senegal, Ornate, and something else. But I don't know. I'll remember it later and message you and be like, I remember what it was.
Right. Okay. Hey, as soon as we talk about rescues, quick. A lot of the fish in here, I got all rescues. Now this is very high tannin tank. Those who don't know, this is the Fantosa Conluch tank, and most of those are rescues, by the way. Now there are a few babies that were not rescues, but they were born there. Yeah, very beautiful. But which is that's my favorite tank of all our tanks.
Yeah.
But
I think that's why this has become my favorite tank at the moment, because every day I come out and something new is bred. Put the whiptails in, they bred the first day. The angels have been breeding. Aliotis have just had a massive clutch of babies, if you've seen that on my TikTok. Silver tip tetras ended up breeding. I found 2 babies in the sump, which are now growing out in the shed. Bristlenoses have been breeding. I think everything that is in there, apart from the ghost knife, because there's only one of them, everything has bred. So it's just been nuts at the moment. And it's winter, the middle of winter. I don't understand why they're all breeding, but middle of winter, everything has decided to breed. So
nice.
I don't know what
awesome.
their deal is.
So yeah, everyone double check you're following Jim Aquatics the whole way. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Give us some love. And for those coming in, this is my new co-host, so expect to see some more of her. She's awesome, y'all.
Yes. The channels aren't that exciting at the moment, unfortunately. It's just been focusing on getting my business organized and sorting out paying clients. Unfortunately, they're priority, but as soon as I hire someone else to take over my crazy life, then I can start focusing on content creation and actually getting these pages going a bit more. So at the moment, kind of just random vlog, daily diary sort of things, just interesting things that happen in my life. So yeah, but eventually it will be proper education posts.
But for those who don't know, she has everyone's dream job. That's not fair.
It's very overwhelming though. My poor tanks definitely take a blow because of it. When you're looking after everyone else's tanks all day, you walk in and look at your own and go, "Ugh, do I have to?"
I mean, someone has to. Someone that does a good job has to look after Katie Cichlids tanks.
Yeah,
she's gone.
You know, her tank's been good after at the moment.
Without further ado, I think let's wrap this up because we don't want to hold Emily for too long. So, Emily, you got anything to say to the fish fam before we head out?
That's about all. Just thank you for tuning in and listening to my crazy rant about bucket list fish. And if you've got any questions, my DMs are open and feel free to send me a message. Always happy to have a chat.
What state are you in?
I'm in Queensland, so I'm in Caboolture, Queensland. Good old Moronfield.
And thanks for everyone coming out. I can't promise when the next live stream is going to be with Jim Aquatics, but we think they're doing it like once a month, so stay tuned for that. If you got any input or you want any topics that you want us to discuss, message me or Emily, and we'll put that to the list of topics. I'm looking forward to seeing the differences between the two countries or states. For those that don't know, I'm in Texas. She's in Queensland, which is similar. So, anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, peace out.
Cool. See ya.
Bye. And yeah, always stay tuned. Good vibes only.